Super Soul Sisters, and yet again, a very interesting discussion. Today's Super Soul Sister is Jacqueline Arinda. Some people could just say Jackie Arinda, it's the same thing. And of course, she is one of, I will say this, probably youngest CEO in the media here, and of course being a female, so I pretty much know there is a story there. Every time you see a female push, you know there is definitely a story. Rowena Kajumba is my name. Now, thank you so much for making time, Jackie.
Okay, thank you so much, Rowena, for thinking about me and being part of Soul Sisters. I think it's the best thing that I can do before I die. Oh
When
wow!
someone talks about Jackie Arinda, who is she? I want to understand.
Now, I usually tell people that it's quite difficult, and it's a concoction of so many years, so many events, so many things. But to summarize it, Jacqueline Arenda from Ibanda, and I was okay, born to Mr. Benson Namara and Edith. Probably you don't know them, and then you're like, who is that? Because lately, when you say your parents' name, they're supposed to be known around. No, my parents passed away when I was very, very young, so I'm like a total orphan, but was raised very well by a very wonderful family that took me up, and I never felt, like you miss your parents. Yeah, you do miss them, but I never felt that gap very much. So in Ibanda, people call them Batagwenda, but I'm not a Mtagwenda. And I have so many cousins that I call sisters and brothers. In fact, if you meet me, I will tell you that's that's my sister, that's my brother, so I don't have the cousin thing. And studied from Mbara, Ibanda, and Kampala. And I did my university from Bishop Stewart University. Still, I'm proud of it. What else can I say about my childhood? I was a stubborn one, very stubborn. And I can tell you that up to this day, I'm like, I thank God that I was stubborn. Because now it makes more sense. Because you can blend in anywhere. Where people are telling us, connections, you need to connect, networking. If you're not stubborn, if you are not the person, because stubborn in school meant that you're talkative. I mean, you befriend everyone. You're liked by everyone. There's no one that was stubborn that wasn't liked by everyone. So that, I think, is something that I'm proud of now, So my childhood, yes, I got to, some of us were beaten seriously, because of being stubborn.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, primary school, where did you go?
Bara mixed primary school in Bara. Then I went to Chuvara Girls for I think up to senior 3. Then I did my O level in Alliance. Then I came for A level in Crane High School, Chitintali. Did my bachelor's degree in social work and social administration from Bishop Stewart University. Basically, that's my life. And now pursuing a master's. I hope I finish it in business administration because it's hectic. Work and school and the entire, police about marriage or police about giving birth or police about success is too much. So you have to weigh whether you will. When I talk about my childhood, there's something that you asked that who is Jacqueline Arenda? Well, Jacqueline Arenda, I can say, is a friendly person and someone who doesn't give up and who doesn't take no for breakfast or lunch or any other meal. It's a yes for me. It's a yes for breakfast, yes for lunch, yes for dinner. So growing up and to be who I am and how I have come to be this is that I can say Jacqueline Arenda has come from very, very far and is still going far. But how can you describe her? Hardworking? That's what I say. When they ask you, the viewers, to describe me, you will describe me. But now that you ask me to describe myself, I have to give credit to myself. Yes, I'm tough. I'm principled. I'm fast, and I'm a bit. People say that I have a gloomy face, that I don't smile. Yet in actual sense, I'm smiling deep in here. Yeah. I'm smiling. So people tend to say I have that tough look and people say I'm a bit a perfectionist. Like when I
But
give you
that's
work,
not a bad thing, is
it,
it?
it is.
It
It
is?
is actually. I will tell you along the way. It is. So, and then the other thing is that I move on very fast. Very,
Very
very
fast.
fast. You know, when you tell me, Jack, you cannot be without internet, well, you're so wrong. I can be without it. Like I move on so
Like you
very.
find a
Even if
solution.
it's my favorite meal, even if it's anything, I can move on. If something doesn't work for me, it is very easy for me to switch to something else. So people say that about me, and I also notice it. That once I sit down and I say, you know what, this is not working for me, I switch very fast.
So that's a trait that most people build over time.
Yeah.
So let me ask, what was your childhood like? Was it an easy, fun, easygoing kind of childhood, or was it the kind of childhood where you had to literally prove yourself half the time, or prove to the world in some sense?
Yeah, I think every African child, we often or not,
Yeah.
it's a bit challenging to be an African child, and I think we should add it on our CV, you know, like I was raised by African parents,
Yeah.
so it was more of beating. In fact, even yesterday when I was traveling with the person I grew up calling dad and my mom, my parents, okay. And then I told them, by the way, what was the problem? You used to beat us so much. And then I'm like, but if you didn't beat me, maybe I wouldn't be who I am. So my childhood was a bit tricky because I grew up with boys. So I used to play soccer, open chest. We didn't have uniform. Come on. You just start up playing. And I used to play football with my brothers and other friends of his, because I was the only girl, so I didn't have the girl to play with. And that's where I learned, you know, being me. You know, it's a no and no for me because I'm used to speaking to men the way I want and the way I feel every human being should speak to them. So now, which was not something my parents liked a lot. Because they were like, no, why don't you play with the girls? And I'm like, I don't see girls around here. You didn't give birth to many, so I'm just here with boys. And then so they were not happy with that because that's how I was, even in class, you know. Now, school, a bit being a little girl, you know, growing up, at I think 14, 15, you know, I started feeling that gap of missing your parents, your real parents. You're like, how will they be? What would they look like? What would it be? Us as
You're
a
a teenager now,
family,
lots of
yeah,
questions.
yeah, lots of questions, and then I started searching for my father because by then I didn't know him. So I started searching for my father. I got to see the family he was from, and I wasn't comfortable keeping them either. I wouldn't, I wouldn't, because that was like at around 19 or 18. I met them when I was very old to know them. So I couldn't blend in. I tried, you know, I tried to blend in, but it's a different thing to grow up from another family and another to start living with another family. So they were totally different from what I believed in, so we couldn't blend in together. So now we just talk on phone, hi, hi. I guess we are now more friends
Than the family.
than a family. So I'm more attached to my mother's side.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then, you finish primary school, secondary, you go to university. What did you do at university?
Bachelor's in social work and social
What
administration.
pushed you to that?
Now, I wanted to be a lawyer.
Okay.
So I had asked them that if I get the points, will I take the course? They said yes. And so they said no. After everything, I got, I think, 15. That's what I can remember. So they said, no, that cannot work. And besides, you're very many kids. We cannot afford Kampala. So therefore, you will go to Bishop Stewart University. I was like, what? Who goes to Bishop Stewart?
I know the first question in your mind.
Like, really? So, like I said, I switched very fast. I cried a bit and I was like, you know what? Either way, I have to go to the university and this is the only ticket there. So let me just go there. But now here's the interesting part right now. When I went to Bishop Stewart, I was different. I was different. I love my university. But I reached there and I found out, now you're seeing me with this hair. I used to plait hair even by then, wigs, weaves, and everything, painting my nails, wearing my makeup, lips. So basically, in the entire university,
Yeah.
I would enter. When you enter a place and you're like, I think I'm overdressed.
Yes.
Yeah, so they used to be like, she's so proud, she's different. They'll be
Every
like,
time you're different, there's a problem.
yeah. So, like I said, me, I do care, but sometimes I give you the attitude. I'm like, you got to live with me or live without me. But this is so me. So and I thank God I went to Bishop Stewart. When they were looking for Miss Tourism Ankole, they said the only girl that can contest for this thing, she's in Bishop Stewart University. Because I was popular.
Yeah.
Don't ask me how I was popular, but I was popular in some way. So people knew me, the circles that matter, they knew who I was. So someone calls me and it's like, no, you do. I'm like, but I didn't apply. They're like, no, you come, just pack your things and go to bootcamp. So I came, filled in the forms, and I got the crown. Why? Because I was different.
Yes.
Why? Because I was in Bishop Stewart University. So if I was in Kampala,
You
man,
may not have got
Kampala
that.
has very beautiful girls. Has girls all over, and the competition is stiff, just like business in Kampala. The competition is stiff, so I don't think I would have made it if I was in Kampala. But because I was in Bishop Stewart and I was different, and that's why it is important to be different, and that's why it is important, to stand out. You never know at what point your services can be needed. So I became Miss Tourism. Now, if I was popular without the crown, now what does
Here goes
it
the
mean?
crown, yes.
Here comes the queen. So I became Miss Tourism Ankole and came to Kampala. Like I said, Kampala competition is stiff. Losing is part of, life experience and lessons that you need. So I come to Kampala and we were about, by then I think there were 10 regions. So these are 30 beautiful queens from different regions, We are living together in the same room, asking for lipstick from your competitor. You learn how to live with people when you're competing for just one crown. You even fix each other's hair, fix each other's faces, talk to each other, encourage. Girls would, let me tell you, being a beauty queen, what people don't know is that they should start, actually, they give us the crowns, but I think we should also wear those uniforms I see in Chankwanzi.
Yeah.
Those uniforms are my uniforms. Because you are typically like a soldier. You have to be there for them. They have to be there for you. That's how you learn healthy competition, And I can tell you that I lost before even the finals. Because it was too much pressure. But that's what makes gold, and I couldn't make it for Miss Tourism Uganda. But I don't regret, and the queen was selected and crowned, and life went on, and I went back to my region as Miss Tourism Ankole, from the land of milk and honey.
Yes.
And I was proud of it, and I said, you know what, I think this is what I need. Went back and used the crown. Before I knew it, I was given a job because I was a queen.
Yes.
I was called for an interview at Vision Radio, and after the interview, the boss, Mr. Kafoko, my first ever boss, said, no, I think you're meant to be on air. We need someone like you. We need you. Can you come tomorrow and we see? Can you start tomorrow? And I'm like,
That's at what age then?
well, you want to know my age?
Not the age.
I was still at university, second year.
Oh, okay. That was
Yeah.
quite young.
Yeah, quite young. I think I was 21. Yeah. At that time, I didn't even know how to negotiate for salary.
You're just excited you're going on air.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm
Yeah.
on air, and here comes like a 400 per month. I mean, you have
Your
your
companies.
parents, 400. Do you know what that means? For just talking for 2 hours, and you're popular and you're everywhere. So I saw, messages. Facebook was then active. Facebook coming in, friend requests, and then I was shooting to 5,000 to 10,000, and then I became popular like that. So I had to carry on my duties as a queen, conserving the environment, promoting tourism in the region. And Not that I'm bragging, but that's how people came to know about Miss Tourism. No one knew about this pageant in Western Uganda. So I organized the marathon, and it was a success. So a marathon after a marathon, people were like, "No, we need you." I remember when was it Crime Preventers? They were launching it and they were organizing a marathon. They called me. They were like, "There is only one person that has organized a successful marathon in Western Uganda. She's called Jacqueline Arenda. You need her on board." And guess who? Mr. Kaihu standing in front of me, and he's like, "Hi, I've been told that you're very good at organizing these things. Do you mind help giving us a hand?"
Yes.
Basically, what I was doing was leading me to something else. You know, you do this, it leads you to another. Before I knew it, I was a news anchor, TV West. They called in girls, and I was beautiful, and I was popular. Lately, journalism, you must be popular to
Yeah.
get a job. Doesn't matter what you have started. So finishing campus, by then I was already in management, because I was a manager, Barra Tourism Information Center, and then before that I was the marketing manager. And then I was, me and my friends had a company, Great Records. You know, we were trying very many things. And it's because of COVID that it is closed, but they were also good. You know, we started tour and travel company with friends and supported it. And then the other way, I'm in management, the first tourism information center in Mbara. So I was doing very many things, trying things. This fails. I organized events, corporate events. I was everywhere, and things would fail. And let me tell you, Rona, you see, when you're a girl or a lady doing all this stuff, people were like, "How does she do it?" You are meant to be a man, and I'm like, "No, I'm meant to be a woman."
Yeah.
You understand? They try to, to say it's only men that can do that. I would organize events, I would stay out at night, I would be there, and at the same time, I'm on air doing my news. After news, immediately, I go back to the tour and travel company, do my work. Before you know it, I'm back to my charity. While I was doing all this, I don't think my salary was even close. If you add it all together, it was close to 2-3 million. No. It would clock to almost like 1.3, 1.4. But I was doing like 10 things, and you cannot even raise 1.4 out of those. But that's how my career and experience rose. It's true, I joined management at a young stage, but I was corrected. I wasn't ready for the job, but I was corrected, I was coached, I was groomed, and I was ready to be groomed. And I didn't complain. I don't remember at that stage asking for, and yes, complaining and saying, "You know what, I need more money for this. I needed more." No, I didn't do that. So when you're doing so many things, men, of course, now that is the tricky part. Men approach you, and then the society labels you. People were like, "No, she's too much. She speaks her brains out before she thinks." And when they say that, it's not that you said something wrong. No, it's because you said no. Because I was exposed, men came to me, young boys came to me, old, married, not what. And I remember at home they used to ask me, "How do you deal with it?" And I'm like, "I have a boyfriend, so, and I am working, I have money. I don't see any reason to go around, sleeping around." And then we had this tabloid, by then that was a thing, and used to write about me. You would download your pictures on Facebook, then they put their captions, "Oh, Jack is sleeping with so and so." So being a woman at that age and being exposed, and that's why people fear, some girls fear to be outside there, because someone will say something that is not true about you, and the entire image. People don't care about your brand image. They will say anything they want. But the same people that said false things about you, they believe in what they have even written about you. I kind of clashed with my family about that. They were like, "You're in newspapers. We see you all over. We see you partying. We see you with this boyfriend." I'm like, you quite know that is not true. Go on my Facebook page. That picture was taken with me and my girlfriends. Why did they crop them out? I was out with my girlfriends. We were there. That's the entire picture. So because my family believed in me very much, they supported me throughout. Every time the tabloid would be out there, any story, it would put me down. But because I was very strong, like I said, I don't take no for any male. Now, for me, when I am networking, then that means that this woman loves men. But when a man is networking, then is praised. You get so during that time, that's when I realized that, you know what, I think I need to raise my daughter just like the way I was raised. Because at home they would tell me, if you're doing the right thing, Jackie, please keep going.
People don't realize this, that a working woman might come as an easy thing, but so many women, if given option, would rather sit than go through such things all their life, trying to prove themselves, trying to say, hey, I'm just living a life like anyone else. But so are we seeing this as just a men feeling challenged, or when we're talking about empowering women and young girls, we're leaving out the men, we're leaving something out? What could be the challenge here?
It's not only about men, actually. Every Women's Day, I celebrate men that have supported women, that have empowered women. And when I say empowerment, I don't mean you going around and speaking behind cameras that you're empowering women. No. And actually, I've not had a lady boss. I've been hired by men, and they have supported me, and they have groomed me. My first boss was Mr. Kafoko. He groomed me. My second boss that was Vision Group was Mr. Santana. And every day he could tell me, you know what, because women, we are so emotional. So you see, it's the emotional intelligence thing is something that women should take up. I read more about emotional intelligence than anything, because naturally women were emotional. And so it's hard to understand whether you are making a decision out of your emotions or it is based on facts that we should do what you're doing. So men that empower women, I think, are the magic. But we also have women that don't empower women. I've worked with women. And I can tell you that this entire society definition of a successful woman, it's sometimes raised by fellow women. Those are the ones that come out and they're like, she's all over. You don't know that girl. Oh my God, she knows so and so. She's all over. Women, okay, but men, exactly. But men will be like, I like her. You know, she's persuasive. She's intelligent. She speaks her brains. She's fast. She's everything. While men are saying that, somewhere women are like, oh my God, she's all over. Do you see how her nails are ever polished? Her hair is ever neat. She moves around. She talks to men like everyone. Because you know, us ladies, when you're speaking to men, interacting with them, like, hi, you're speaking your brains out. Someone said, before I get to that I am having issues with my boyfriend or stroke husband, but I don't need an African woman for a counselor. Why? Because African women are like, Guma, you know, what you're going through, we pass through the worst. So please stay there. You know, women empowerment is when you tell your fellow woman that I think you're being stepped on. Or you can say, I think you're being emotional. This is not the best way you should have handled this. I think you are not a good person. I can also tell from how we discuss here. You're like, Jackie, you know, the way you behave with me, I understand. And that's why I'm still your friend. But when you go outside there, please leave this.
Yes,
leave this here. But other girls will say, whatever you tell them, I'm leaving my boyfriend, please leave. You know, we shall get another one. But they forget to tell you that there's something wrong with you.
Yes.
You get?
Like you need to change
the way you're behaving. Now, a fellow woman who wants to empower a fellow woman would say, Rowena, I don't think what you're doing is right. Or I think you should do this. True. They tell you facts. I've seen my parents ask me, when are you getting married? And then I'm like, if there's anything I want is to get a wedding and make them happy. So I just usually tell them that don't think you're the only ones that want this thing. Yes. I want it badly. Like, I can't wait to tweet, Instagram pictures and be all over. And I'm like, this is my day, you know. But pressuring me every time you mention it, I reduce on the times I meet them. I when I'm going for these events, I'm like, okay, what will I say? That, why am I not yet married? But my mother usually tells me, maybe it's because you're tough. Maybe it's because, you know, Jackie, men will fear you. The last time she told me, my daughter, I'm so happy for you. I had some good news. She's like, I'm so happy for you. Jada coffee, yes. Career-wise, yes. What? But I'm scared that this might scare away some men. Maybe it's the reason why you're not yet married. And I say,
Should I tone down? No.
should I
No,
tone down,
tone.
mom? She's like, no. But probably you shouldn't tell them that you own these things.
Can you imagine?
You get that?
Yes.
Like, and she's a very friendly lady. I usually call her my ATM, my counselor, chief whip, and everything. And then she comes in a good way. But it hit me so hard. My best friend also said it, and my friend also said. So basically, my top 5 advisors, the entire parliament of Jacqueline, it said, Jackie, you're very tough. Somehow might scare women. And I said, well, I think I'm going to die single.
Yeah.
Because if it scares away any man, I'm not turning down. I'm not going to get married, sit in a house. I'm not going to be a housewife. And if I choose to be a housewife, but still, I'll have to run some other businesses. So a women empowerment thing, it's a
big-
combination
yeah.
of so many things.
So anyway, so you do radio, and then you go on.
I do TV.
TV. What happens after that?
Well, I became a CEO of the first business channel in the country, and I was the youngest in the media fraternity. I think I'm still the youngest
Yes, you
CEO in the media fraternity. Now, that was the most challenging part. And I remember even when I was leaving, one of the things that I highlight is that I reached a point and it was a question of gender. So my boss, as a man, they start telling him, you see, this girl, she, I think it was, I remember in the boardroom, there were 5 men, the entire board, and I was the only woman. And I presented.
And a young one at that.
Young one, I was actually the youngest in the room. And I used to present to them. Of course, like any other CEO, you have to report to them. But this time, a gentleman, I can't mention, said to my boss, it's like, but you see, Jackie's a lady. She's young, she's a lady. So, and the company has grown very fast. She has been doing well, but it has grown so big that we think she might not manage it. Now, I wanted to ask them, if I could get it from where it was to this level. So you want someone else, a man, to come and manage what I have put together because the company has.
All of a sudden, it's too big because you're a woman.
I would love to say because I was a woman, but my boss usually believes in because as girls so used to tell me that, you know what, being a girl and the way you're working, you inspire my girls, and I will always support women. But this time, this is the board. You know, the board has to make a decision, and then the board said it's you. I remember the one of the gentlemen said it's your attitude that we cannot put up with. And can you tone down? Then another one told me, if you still want to be a CEO, well, you must know that you're a woman. We don't need you to speak like as if you're a man. And then I was like, you know what, I would rather resign than tone down, because that's not happening. And good luck. Get a man, put him in that seat, let him do the job. So, and my boss kept on saying, you know, we want you to move out at your own terms, you know, because we don't want you to go outside there thinking it's because you're a woman. Most of the things is not because I was a woman, but the biggest worry that every young girl should worry about is that at that point, they don't look at anything, whether you're hardworking, whether the figures are okay, the bank account is okay, you're doing it right, the gender issue usually comes up. And actually lately, it's not all about gender. I think it's also about size. Because they kept on saying you're small, you're short. Come on, look at the paperwork, the performance.
Small and short, and they have all the right.
My friend, they're also struggling with that. The size issue is coming. To be a CEO, you must be fat, then with a big stomach. Then if you're a lady, then you shouldn't be dress up like me. You know, you should be maybe in Mothers Union, something, sorry. But that's the kind of, you know, the best way I could describe it.
Yes.
You know, then the hair, no, there is no more hair. Basically, they have an entire picture of how a CEO should be like. And that wasn't me. And I said, this is a new generation. You should welcome it. We've seen Mark Zuckerberg. We've seen Robert Kapshenga in jeans, and he performed. It's about performance. It's not about the size. It's not about gender.
So you're dealing with this kind of, someone told me when you're in certain positions as a woman, you probably get even much more harsh criticism and judgment. So how do you deal with this when it all happens before the resigning? Because I'm sure that was like the tip.
I kept on working because I believe, I think I'm a scientist when it comes to some things. I'm not more into religion of saying 1 + 1 + 1 is equal to 1. I'm more of a scientist. 1 + 1 + 1 is equal to 3. So in business, the moment the figures are speaking for themselves, you don't need to say much. Do your reports. And secondly, ensure that, like I said, your advisors, your entire parliament, you select the good people and they will guide you. Because every time I would be pissed, I would come back to them. There is a friend of mine, she's called Arinda. I call her my second brain. And she calls me her second brain. When I'm pissed, I can abuse her, and I'm like, I'm abusing you because I feel like, putting this entire thing out. And she sits there and she's like, I think you made a mistake here. You made a mistake here. You made a mistake here. This is how you should handle this. This is how you should handle this. They say perception matters, and it does. You see, even the days when I'm sick, I had to work. You know why? Because they say women, we get sick. We're sickly. Yes. In a month, she's sick like 5 times. She has children. She has what? We're so emotional. She's going for burial. But men finish their work before they leave office. Now, I had to do that. Even when I'm sick, I had to work. So that they don't say that there is this and this and this and this that has gone wrong because she's a woman. I never at one point, had to show out my real me. The real me is the other hot side where you tell someone, you don't want to see the other side of me. So whenever I would feel like that, you just walk out for fresh air. And even when I wasn't ready for some discussions, I would say, I'm not ready for that discussion. And I wish you could respect that. So if I can just point them out, 1, ensure that you work hard without excuses. Excuses paint the entire picture black. Secondly, you must have plan B. Know when to leave and when to stay. It's important. But also ensure that before you leave or make a decision, you've really done an assessment, and which is not based on your emotions.
So now you're a CEO of an all-business TV. Like it's basically about the economy and things like that. Do you think that partly affected their perception, thinking, okay, she's got us here, but she's a woman and this is tough work in their minds?
1, I totally agree with that research. I also experienced it, and I was, when I was still the CEO of that media house, I tried my level best to bring women out. But I can tell you that you're journalists. Getting me here is, it's not that it's hard, but you know the pressure that you're on. You need a program. You need this out, okay? But then the other guest is not responding. While men, the moment you give them a call, are you ready? They'll come. I came on this show with my nails. They are not worked on. Why? Because I knew by the time I tell you, can I go to the salon, work on my hair? Can I get my nails worked on? I'm delaying you. You could jump on someone else. You just go and get some. And that's the problem I had with women. Because all the shows, I would ask the SMTs, the senior management team, why is it that I don't see women? I only see them in SMEs. I'm not seeing them on the panel. On the panel, I'm seeing same women. 5 out of, in the entire month, you have the same 5 women you had last month. Are you trying to say there are no other women that can discuss this? We have women all over. We have in UNRWA, we have what. different places. Why is it that we don't have women? And I started, they told me, Madam, with all, they used to call me Madam CEO. Madam CEO, with all due respect, getting women here is quite tricky. You call her today, she says she's not available. You call her the following day, she says she'll be there. You call her the following day, she keeps on postponing. And before you know it, you don't have a program. So they said, would prefer, because when you have a repeat, it's an issue. When the guest doesn't show up, it comes back to the reporter. They want to be paid for that show.
Well, Jackie Arinda here, of course, and we're having a very interesting discussion. She is indeed a super soul sister. Very interesting stories. I told you, once you hear that a woman, there's a working woman in your space, any working, even yourselves. I know you have stories out there. And of course, we're going to take a quick break and we'll be back. But just a reminder, we are in this amazing space at Daughter's exclusive here on Ginger Road, Spear House. Now, of course, they have amazing furniture that you can check out and see. Rowena Kajumba, I'll be back with this interesting discussion with Jackie Arinda. Super Soul Sisters, and we're back to continue this conversation with Jackie Arinda. And of course, very interesting story. And we have been given this amazing space by Daughter's exclusive with amazing furniture that you can indeed check out. Just come along Ginger Road at Spear House. Now, Jackie, being a young CEO, quite challenging, of course, at the time, and saying, I'd rather resign than tone down if it means that for me to stay CEO, in books, I shouldn't speak like a man. I don't even know what that means. I don't even know what that means. And then you say, no, I'd rather resign.
Well, there were so many other things, but that sparked it off.
Yeah.
One, I had to look for greener pastures. And secondly is that I realized that if I keep pushing this, okay, it will go to the end where I don't want it, where I will leave the company and they start painting your picture the other way around.
Exactly, yes.
So I was like, it's best we just separate at this level where you believe in what you believe in, I believe in what I believe in. Thanks for the opportunity, but if I don't do this, any other girl outside there will think that, like our African parents, when they're giving that marriage piece of advice, you have to stay, you have to suffer, you have, no, I don't say that. So I planned, and it took me a year to plan, and during that, I was ensuring that I nailed it, did my best, worked hard, and left it at that. It's a quite a difficult thing to do. When you resign and you're going to start up your own company and you're joining something else, you ask yourself, am I doing the right thing? But at the end of the day, like I said, I switch.
You don't mind change?
No, I first do an assessment. I'm like, will I survive? Plan B. You make your plan B. You ask yourself, is this the right thing? You ask your members of parliament. My members of parliament for Jacqueline, please, what do you say? Motion on the table. What do you say? So they told me, you know what, Jackie, I think we know you. You're not going to put up with this for so long. And you might lose it. So just ensure you move out when it is still intact.
So, Jackie, after saying I need to resign, okay, what happens next from there? What do you go ahead to do?
Yeah, well, like I said, you must have your plan B. So I started planning for my exit. And that's when I started working on my paperwork for my company, because I was making some research about coffee. And I liked coffee. And I love coffee. And I like coffee. So after that, while I'm doing my paperwork, now an opportunity comes up in another TV station that was Record TV. So I took it up, because you need, to keep working until you have enough to run your own company. So I'm like, an extra coin doesn't hurt. So I take up the opportunity, but while I'm also working on Jada Coffee, and launched my Jada Coffee, I think in October.
Oh, so you're Jada Coffee?
Yeah, Jada Coffee. Yeah, so I start up a coffee company while still at Record TV. And unfortunately, while I had just joined Record TV, it shuts down. So shutting down to me, because plan B was Jeddah Coffee before I left Smart 24. This was like saying you need to concentrate more on your company.
project,
And so it didn't hurt me or hit me so hard because I was already running my own company and looking for the future. So now can say fully Jeddah Coffee. I do a lot outside Jeddah Coffee, but my full time is Jeddah Coffee. So I set up my coffee company because at this point I was like, I know what it means to grow a company. I have been CEO, I've been a manager, I've been basically an employee, but it's time I become the employer, crossing from employee to employer.
So, as we wind up, you talked about reading a couple. What type of books do you read? Are you the type who goes out for adventure, fun stories, or you say, "Well, let me go for the things that are going to tickle my mind," or maybe the people who also read books that are motivational?
The kind of books that I read are from people's experiences, from events, series of events. Like I would like to know what is, like I asked you before we started, what is your life like? What is your experience like? Because currently some people are taking it like a business. They tell you what you want to hear. But when I read about someone's experience, like I would read about mine, it kind of motivates me than reading or read an motivating or something. Yeah. So take it that I wouldn't say I have a particular kind of books that I read, but I read books depending on the situation I'm in.
Okay, that's good.
If I'm having managerial issues, I'll look for a book. For Richard Templer is my best when it comes to management. Then when I'm having relationship issues, then I cross to relationships. Then when I'm having a family issue, but I am more into reading about people. How did you do this? How was it like? What was it like? Then documentaries. I also do documentaries because they help me look at, documentaries kind of add feelings. You will see someone, but books, it's kind of you have to imagine, but so documentaries also help me in this entire career thing. You read about it.
Well, thank you so much, Jackie. Unfortunately, our time has run out, but I must say this was quite a good discussion.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
All the soul sisters that
Thank you so much. And I do appreciate you for making time. Most times they say, like we mentioned, women will not turn up, but these women have turned up to come and give us their story. And they are our super soul sisters. Jackie Arinda today was our super soul sister. Interesting story, encouraging story. And of course, one might say, no, the experience. Yes, she has experience in very little time. She is a young woman who says, I have no boundaries, which is very key. Also, like I always say, speak up for yourself and do not stop. Brianna Kajumba, and just a reminder, this is Daughters exclusive. They've given us their beautiful space to use. You can come around Ginger Road Spear House and check out their furniture, check out what they have. Very good stuff, for the hip people. Well, everyone's taste is here. But thank you for making time. Super Soul Sisters, till next time.